right, guys. I went back to the range with the KKM barrel and another couple boxes of HST because I like punishing myself by shooting expensive ammo. And the Glock had a new recoil spring, brand new for that Glock 17. And I also chose different targets because I thought, maybe my old eyes just not really getting it. So I have here, pardon me, I gotta move my camera just a little bit, I think. I apologize for the movement. Um, so that group there, 4-inch group, that was my first one. And KKM Barrel 147 grain HST, rested just like I did the last video, 4-inch group. If we take this flyer out, we're down to 2.7 inches for my group. Not great, but hey, first group of the day. I switched to a higher contrast target thinking, I got old eyes. Maybe that change in target will help me get my own shooting down to take it as less of a factor, but it didn't really seem to matter that much. So then I thought, well, first group, first shooting, maybe there was some sort of yips, but oh look. And guys, I was super steady on this group. 5-inch group, 2 inches without the flyer. 2 inches. Man, that's disappointing, right? So awesome, but not awesome. And so I'm looking at that, and so I think, well, man, maybe I need to switch guns because I remember the claim that I made about my Glock 19 being a laser beam. So I shot my 19. I pulled it out and shot it. That was 3.5-inch group. And by the way, with it's actually on me right now. This Glock right here. OEM barrel, OEM trigger, hollow sound optic. Like literally, this is a 407. That's a $250 optic, guys. It doesn't get any cheaper than that, right? But 3.5 inch group. Pretty good. The zero a little slightly off. I adjusted it later, but so then I shot the 19 again, thinking, was it a fluke? 2.8-inch group. Like I said, zero's off. I changed that after this group. I'm like, oh, I gotta clean that zero up just a smidge, but 2.8-inch group, and this is the kind of groups that I've seen out of that gun since the day I bought it. Like it just keeps kicking out stupid accurate groups. I shot a 3x5 card like 3 times at 50 yards with that gun. It is that gun is mechanically more accurate than I am, and probably the vast majority of shooters out there. So now that I got my proof of concept, I got it in my brain. Well, okay, so I'm shooting pretty good. Like this is not really a problem with me. I decided to see what would happen if I shot the first round somewhere else, like on a different target, and then shot the other rounds for my 17 on the bullseye. And I'll roll in. I took a picture because I actually put 2 3x5 cards off to the left hand side, aimed at the line in between those 2 cards for my first round, and then rounds 2 through 9 I put on one of my bullseyes. Well, now we get that 2.5-inch group with my Glock 17 and that KKM barrel. And the first round, as you look back from that picture, it's about 1 3/4 inches to the right of the main group every time. So my working hypothesis now is that no matter how hard I slingshot the gun, like pull the slide to the rear and let go, even smack the back of the slide once it's in battery, because I was doing that. Like I did not just put it in, hit the slide catch. This time when I inserted the magazine, I did the old power stroke and even smacked the back of the slide to give it that extra love tap to get everything locked up. But the lockup from manually loading the gun versus the lockup that I get from return from recoil is different. That is the only difference that makes sense in my head, because, you know, new barrel locking block is, no, actually, it's probably not even original because it's been back once to the factory. Um, New recoil spring. So all I can figure is the lockup from me manually loading that gun sends that first round about 2 inches to the right. Um, and then all the rest of them do this. So the interesting thought is that I suppose I could account for that if I was bullseye shooting with that gun for the first round. Out of every time I've reloaded, I just aim 2 inches to the left. And I may actually try that one time just to see what that looks like with me manually messing around with it. But I think it's about 2 inches, because if I go back and look, man, it might be even slightly more. Actually, come to think of it, that's probably 2.5 inches. And if I go from center to center, it might even be 3.5. But yeah, I still think between 2 to 3 inches to the left each time. If you aim that first one over here and then aimed all the rest here, you'd probably end up with a really nice group every time. So that's my conclusions there. And I don't know, I don't know what to do with it except to say that I guess it's that gun. It is what it is. Not that the accuracy of that gun is poor. Even if you talk a 4 or 5 inch group at 25 yards, in what's in effect a duty gun, the gun was not designed for bullseye shooting. That's more than reasonable. And if we then factor in my known round number one gun yip, and I just put it over where the rest of the group I know will be, then maybe not a bad thing either. So that is what I've learned. Let me know what you think. I'm curious. And before I forget, if you've made it this far into this video, if you would be so kind as to like this video and subscribe, I'd appreciate it. I'm going to cover more gun stuff, but probably some knife stuff in the future. There's a lot of information and cool things that I'm playing with that I'm not seeing a lot of other YouTubers do. And so if you want to stick around, I'd appreciate it. Anyways, take care, guys. Be safe.